Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and today I'm joined by
Marcus Hurley
and Will. So, finally reached episode 200.
Whoop.
And right on the edge of the decade as well. So we thought we'd go through some of our favourite games of the last 10 years since this podcast has been in operation for nearly all of it. 2013, I think. So, yeah, we're cheating slightly, but anyway. So, Will, what you got first?
So going back to 2010, and there is not a game on this list that I haven't mentioned on the podcast, I know that. And there will be a noticeable pattern as we go through on these. But without a doubt, my game of 2010 was the sublime Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, wow, yeah. I didn't even spot that while I was looking through it.
I remember getting excited seeing, I hadn't heard about it and saw an advert on TV. With the trailer for it and the sniper from the intro over the building and shooting down, and just the sheer bonkersness of the Bethesda games, but with Obsidian doing the work on it, bringing out just a really interesting plot, better gameplay, a really genuinely fascinating open world to me. I played that game through to completion from a number of ways with a number of different characters, and every time I found something new and a different way to enjoy it. Magnificent piece of work. Yeah,
I remember like my first the first thing I saw of that game was, I think I was at one of the entertainment shows, like one of the EGX, right, one of the big ones, and they were playing that, and I played it, and I just like, it was one of those games that didn't demo that well, but you know, once you stuck it on and you're on your own in the dark, I played it with all the survival options on as well.
Yeah, hardcore mode, that was great.
And even with all the funny little bugs and stuff that it had, it was still a really immersive game. Like, just the fact that there was all those factions and there was like about 10 different ways of finishing it and stuff, just really got to make your own stamp on that game.
Definitely.
Right? So totally worthy pick. Have you got one from 2010, Marcus?
I don't. But that's okay. Let's move on.
Not a vintage year for you. Fair enough.
No, right, I don't think it was. I looked through and I don't think there was anything that piqued my interest then. I might have been playing older stuff. Yeah. Still carried through. But yeah, nothing stands out.
Okay. So for me, it would be Mass Effect 2.
Oh, you see, I only started on 3 when that was... It surprises me, actually, that I never played it. You know, classic RPG approach, BioWare, whose games I loved, but I just never played it.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably the best of them because they really went for it in terms of the actual combat. So I think I played a Vanguard, and you know, you'd be charging forwards, and while you had your guys behind sniping and laying down.
You do choose your guns blazing type characters. I always find this interesting. Whenever I approach these sorts of games, I always play the stealthy sniper or assassin or whatever, but whenever we've discussed this kind of game, you're always the straight in the face with a shotgun kind of approach.
Yeah, my friends used to love it when we played World of Warcraft. I would always play the dwarf warrior, and rather than being the tank that would take up all the damage, I'd be the one with like an axe in each hand,
full
charging DPS, and everyone going, "Okay, all right then. I guess it's time." All right. You just hear Kurgan going, "Ah, charge!" But yeah, no, and I love to see how that works whenever they allow it in a game. So yeah, Mass Effect 2 was great. I mean, it had some real weird bits because they upgraded the engine, but they still gave you the ability to like import your Shepard into that game.
Yeah,
which had some amusing results because it didn't quite match up sometimes. But I still tried to do that because I think I played those both on PC. So anyway, and I really like the format of it because rather than it being based around exploring locations. It was about exploring characters.
Yes.
So you'd meet up with a character, and then there'd be a mission involving that character to get them in your party, and then there would be another mission involving that character, and there was a roster of like 12 or something. So it was like that was made it a big game.
That's it. I mean, with going off on a slight tangent, but relation. I mean, BioWare, certainly the Dragon Age games were very good for that as well. The companions were genuinely likable, and each was interesting. And I'm assuming it was very similar on the Mass Effect side. Yeah,
definitely. I think Mass Effect 2 is probably BioWare's finest hour, I think, because it really played to their strengths. I think in terms of actual geography, like world building, they are lacking. Too many areas, like in Dragon Age Inquisition, when it was like, you'd just be wandering around and then it's like, oh, there's a thing I have to click on and read stuff.
Yeah, Dragon Age 2, recycled areas.
Yeah, I don't have too much of a problem with Dragon Age 2, but I'm not going to mention it in this conversation.
It certainly wouldn't be in my top games of any year.
No. All right then, moving on to 2011, what you got for us, Will? Do you have anything, Marcus, since you haven't picked it?
2011, I think I was still in my sort of beat-em-up phase then, so I was playing Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
I can see why that would be
and that's why,
appealing to you.
It was basically Marvel characters and Capcom characters kicking 10 shades of shit out of each other in a kind of fun, crazy, cel-shaded sort of...
It's a Street Fighter-esque game, though, right?
Very much, the Street Fighter 2 format, but it's like 3-on-3 combat. You can swap in characters as you do them. It was one of those games where you had the insane combos and like level 3 super moves that would cause most epileptics to go and hide in the corner.
See, I could just never remember the combos in that sort of game. I just never played them enough.
Yeah.
I think it was just one of those things. It was the last game that I really... I mean, which is why I've kind of gone on about beat 'em up still, because I can't ignore them.
Yeah, it's your lifeblood, mate.
I grew up in an arcade. I almost, literally stepped on the floor in an arcade.
Yeah.
Just sort of going down there, time out of college, go down the West End, a couple of quid in there, hang out with your mates, and it was a bit like Akira without any of the drugs or mutated freaks. So
that was what made Akira.
I know. Not quite as cool. No bikes. There were chicks though.
Yeah,
who would kick your ass as well. But no, it was a lot of fun. I think I just, off the back of that, I was still just playing it because there was all of the stuff coming up as well with the split between Capcom and Marvel, because Marvel was getting bought by Disney at the time. So it was the last game in the series. And so there was all this sort of about the future and all that, because it was the last big games. You had all the Vegas tournaments going on, you still have them. And that was one of the big staple games. It was like, if this game goes, is the genre really dead? Yeah. And then you've got Arc Systems still carrying the torch, even now, for their Guilty Gear games, which are amazing. But yeah, no, that was what I was probably playing in 2010, 2011.
Good stuff.
My mate Ing, who used to come up as well and just crash over.
Yeah.
Beers, video
Two
games,
players on the
sake,
couch.
sushi, meat, and just being lads.
Sounds good.
Cool. Well, I have 4 games down here, so I need you to go first so that I'm not going to give short shrift to one of them.
You're going to steal one of them. So, to me, it's possibly my top game out of this full list anyway. Arguably, I preferred 2 of the sequels from when I started, the prequels, the previous entries, but this was still a classic, and I don't think anyone who's played games hasn't heard of. I've owned it on 3 formats, I think. The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Which is a beast of a game. It's dated a bit if you go back now, but just the ability, like with Fallout New Vegas, the ability even more so to just go out there, wander around, ignore the main quest entirely, and just find things, find stories, find loot, and kill stuff. It was wonderful.
I mean, I'm glad you picked that because it has to be mentioned. For me, I have a weird association with it because I think I bought it on more than one system. I think I originally got it on Xbox and then I got it on PC with all the mods and everything.
I have it on Switch as well.
Yeah, I couldn't go that far.
I've got it on Alexa.
Yeah. When I got my Switch, it was the first game I got, and I played that on my horrible commute, and it chewed up a good 60 hours with the commuting time.
Yeah. To continue with my tedious anecdote.
Sorry.
It's all right. Basically, that game came out. I had a week and a half booked off to play it.
Mm.
And the weekend that I got it, I met a girl.
Whoops.
So it, not entirely, but it delayed me actually finishing that game for about 6 years.
I thought you were going to say it delayed me actually seeing her again. For
No, unfortunately, we weren't together long enough before that come out that I could do the full-on, like...
Yeah, I'm
what
going
we've
into
seen
hermit mode, you will understand.
Yeah. But anyway,
Just shout Fus Rodara and run off.
absolutely. Yeah. No, I think everything else about Skyrim has been said. We all know
Yeah,
what it is.
we've covered it more than enough
It's
times.
the cockroach of video games. Yeah, okay, so I've got 3 here to pick from.
Oh, you're just being greedy, aren't you?
Yeah, but I'm only mentioning one.
Ooh.
I'm going to have to, so if I... Oh, it's not going to get another mention, so... Okay, I'm going to have to go with Deus Ex Human Revolution, because I never thought I'd get to play another Deus Ex in my life, and Eidos Montreal spent shitloads of money making a really cool modern version of that for that generation. Like, it went on to spawn one more sequel, which was okay, but apparently had its issues. But yeah, I love Deus Ex. That was my game, like the first amazing game I'd played since I started gaming again as an adult.
Yeah.
Like, so just loved all the augmentations and all that. They managed to capture all of that perfectly from the very first game that came out. So that's my 2011 pick.
Superb.
Okay, so
Why don't you start us on 2012, Rob?
I can, yeah, all right. Actually, all right. So on the same tip, then I'm going to mention the first Dishonored because it carried the torch again for that sort of immersive sim genre, where it's not an open world, but it's more about all the different ways you can approach
The possibilities.
Yeah,
Which is why it's on my list as well.
Yeah. From a gameplay point of view.
It was an interesting world, an interesting take on the world.
Yeah.
I loved the idea of an assassin game when you can go through and not kill anyone. And I did get the trophy for that. And it was very hard. But it was thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah, just all the sorts of things you could do. Like, you could play it violently or non-violently. I really loved the world, like all of the world building, which I think some of the conceptual art was done by the guy that did Half-Life 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so really interesting setup, and yeah.
The other thing I found, the more violent and dark and brutal an approach you took, the more violent and dark and brutal the world became, which I thought was a very nice touch.
Oh yeah, all the rats and stuff. I remember, like, I did all the rat abilities where you could, like, occupy a rat, possess it, and then get around and sort of have a snoop about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the witchy stuff. It was all just like
very gothic.
Yeah, and very unique. It didn't go for realism. The art style was very specific. Very caricatured. And a lot of these, and the way that these characters built up, you really wanted to fucking kill some of them.
Very much.
Yeah. It also had a couple of really good DLCs that I think I played as well. So
yes, I think it was it Bring More Witches? Although I'm getting mixed up maybe with the Dishonored 2 stuff now, so I shall not try and...
See, I keep seeing those games, and you guys talk about them with such reverence. I feel as though I need to dip in and play them at some point. I don't mind. I've never been one of the people that minds playing an older game.
I think there was a remaster of Dishonored, I'm pretty certain, on the current generation.
I'll have to go and have a look.
Yeah.
That's not a bad one to start with, actually, because it's fairly forgiving. But it really does.
Oh, not if you're trying to ghost it without killing.
Well, this is it, though. But this is the thing with it. They're very much games that wrap around you and the way you play them. So it won't punish you necessarily if you take a certain approach.
It's more about drawing out how you are, and the game shows you.
Yeah, it does, and that's what I love about them.
Didn't you say you were someone who just had a big bastard axe or something and was just going around, or was that another game?
Yeah,
It's your go-to, isn't it?
If it's available, yeah.
Yeah.
But
in Dishonored, it does make it a bit harder if you go in guns blazing.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that is not a bad game to start with on that genre. But that's why sort of I'm a little bit let down by the more sort of straightforward games because I feel like I'm not able to make enough of a
choice. And,
that's basically it.
Yeah.
What about you for 2012 then, Marcus?
May 2012, Assassin's Creed 3.
3, interesting.
I kind of dipped in and out of the Assassin's Creed games.
Connor, wasn't it?
Yes. It was the first one that had the naval combat element.
Yes.
So it was introduced in that. So I was intrigued. So I jumped into the series kind of then. I might have missed Brotherhood, which a lot of people say is sometimes the best of that era.
2 and the subsequent ones for 2. Yeah, I quite enjoyed the Ezio games.
Yeah.
I did play them all.
Yeah, it's like a trilogy
Yeah.
of Ezio games.
And then this was
the
start
next
of a new
iteration.
era, yeah.
Absolutely, in the new world.
I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was the first feel of the whole sort of like Arkham style combat and stuff like that, which I wasn't used to at the time.
Yeah, there were definite enhancements.
It was definitely intriguing, and I quite liked the way you could run around, climb up stuff, leap into a bale of hay.
I mean, the Assassin's Creed games, in my opinion, with a couple of missteps, have just gone from strength to strength over the years. It's one of the repeating franchises that I think is really trying to make sure it's not just more of the same each time.
Yeah, I've stuck rigidly to it. Assassin's Creed 3, I remember that because I got it on my new PC, that one there. That's how old that PC is. But it ran at like 60 frames. It was like unbelievable. Like no other Assassin's Creed I played before. It was like absolutely like butter smooth. And it had an interesting story, and I got to learn loads and loads of stuff about Native Americans and the American Civil War.
Yeah.
Boston Tea Party, Sam Adams, all of that. So that's where I got any knowledge at all from that period of history,
Which isn't
is
bad.
from that game.
It's not bad, because if you can educate people whilst giving them an environment they don't feel as though they're getting preached to, I think that's the way you do it.
Yeah.
Take a little poke at Kojima.
Yeah.
You don't stop your game for 20 minutes and talk to people and talk at people.
Yeah. Immersive storytelling.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's quite interesting. So, if I may take 2013, my game of the year for 2013 was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Hey!
Yeah, it's on my list. Definitely.
Because I toyed with 3, and as you say, the first naval combat was in 3, but 4 took that and really rolled with it.
I'm torn a little bit, but yeah, I think that's got to pip it for me because, well, as Johnny Depp said, pirate.
Yes. Totally that. I just remember the joy. I mean, it's best pirate game. It was almost didn't need the Assassin's Creed stuff. The plot, don't remember it. Pretty unmemorable. The joy of having my own pirate ship.
I was waiting for them to release like something that would carry on that element because clearly they'd put so much work into that and they didn't.
Well, we've talked about this. Skull and Bones is still in the pipeline line with an unannounced release date, but I wonder if they're reworking what it's going to be.
They should dry dock it and build more onto that because that's got
I like that
because that's got the potential to be huge
with the right single player. But
Absolutely
if they're pushing
huge.
it as a multiplayer only,
I want them to look at Capcom and go like, well, we could put maybe a co-op story element. We could do something, a single player story, possibly co-op. If they want to push that, you can have your multiplayer arena, arena elements. Just do it all.
Yeah.
What have you got to lose? You don't like money?
And we may even see that. We've not heard a whisper about it, but yes. But I've just realised how long it's been since that naval combat.
Assassin's Creed Rogue was an interesting kind of third entry in that other Assassin's Creed trilogy. You could argue it sort of takes place before and after.
Yeah, you play a hunter, don't you? I think you
play as a Templar.
Yeah,
basically.
It was the previous gen because they couldn't get Assassin's Creed 4 ready on the older gen, so it was
a cross-gen game. Yeah, which
and
eventually got a re-release. I think it's on everything. I think you can even play that on the Switch now. So because they've just put a couple of them on there, haven't they?
I think with the exception of Unity, it's the only one I haven't finished, so I may end up picking that up one day. But I worry, having spent so much time with Odyssey, that I would struggle to go back.
Yeah,
to the mechanisms
I think you have to put
This
your
is
retro
why I had to
gameplay
do
hat
it.
on
Yeah.
and just go. It's like playing a Game Boy game.
This is why I had. This is why I've been so bloody minded about doing them in order.
Yeah. I'm fairly comfortable skipping it.
Yeah, it's not. It's optional. Is it me now?
So for 2013, yep, I think so. Did you choose Black Flag as well, Marcus?
I had Black Flag. I had, funny enough, another game on there as well. Obviously, Tomb Raider came out, which was an honourable mention.
Oh, the original
list.
reboot. Was that
Tomb
year?
Raider. I thought that was really good, but Black Flag spoke to me more.
Yeah.
Also, I had Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, which was a sort of hack and slash.
That was Platinum Games.
It was Platinum, and it was basically a Metal Gear game with Kojima taken away, and it was fun.
That tells you
It
something.
it was. It had a weird game mechanic where you kind of had to line up and do like slashes and stuff, but it was basically just take it to an arcadey mental level where you play Raiden, who was like this dickhead character no one cared about,
Right.
and they turned him into an absolute hero where you're fighting Metal Gears as a cyborg ninja. It's like the opening to the game, you run down a clock tower, pull your sword along the top of a Metal Gear Ray, and it splits in two and blows up. Then the opening credits roll.
I think I had it. I think it came on PlayStation Plus, and it was one of those games I
was
downloaded.
difficult. It was tricky to get into. I think
Played for a bit and
I think
deleted.
I have a soft spot for those games that are a bit tricky, and they'll kick my ass a few times. But I put them down. I keep going back to them, and they get better and better.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, Black Flag was definitely my game for that year.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm basically choosing between GTA 5 and Last of Us, but I think I have to go with Last of Us because it's a really good game.
It was an example of almost a new storytelling approach. I know Naughty Dog had done the Uncharted stuff, but The Last of Us told a story in a single-player campaign that was just something almost entirely new, or new way of doing it.
It was sort of story-paced as well.
It was like
Whereas-
a survival
yes, yeah.
story across like a year and all of what that would entail.
It was a Netflix box set of a game.
Yes.
Yeah,
You cared.
it's a good way to describe it.
And
Actually,
you didn't want the bad stuff to happen.
That's it. The gameplay itself was pretty rubbish.
I didn't mind it, actually. I thought it was good. I mean, the story was definitely the thing that everyone loves it for, but I quite like the way that they managed to kind of create like a very kind of spontaneous approach to combat, because
True.
you'd go into combat and you'd be like, you'd think you'd have, you thought you had it held down, and then it'd be like, oh shit, where's he come from? Fuck you, fuck you.
I must
you.
admit, having been playing Days Gone, the combat's probably actually not dissimilar looking back. Obviously, things have slickened up a bit since. But yes, it's that desperation of scrabbling and only having 3 bullets left for your gun, and you've not got the materials to make another shiv, and you don't know if you've got enough medical packs, and you're just thinking, I just need... Every fight, actually, thinking about it, was a desperate struggle.
Yeah. Interesting. It sort of seems like it's following suit, because 2013 was a bridge year, wasn't it, between generations?
It was, yes.
And look at all those games. Like, you've got some real, like, proper end of the generation stuff, followed by a couple of, like, it's proper end of the gen, isn't it?
I think you also had the start of the weird, and I think it was like the rise of the indie, because I played the Stanley Parable that year. And it was the start of all those little kind of in-between games. That
It was almost, it was the resurgence of the indie.
like the little consumable ones, like,
Yeah.
almost like a chocolate bar.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned many indies yet, but I am getting there.
No, I'm not.
AAA will.
Yeah.
All right, so moving into 2014 then, and we've got the new consoles now. Let's see what they can do.
Indeed. What power, what interesting gameplay mechanics can they give to us?
Yeah.
So, who wants to start?
I'm going to go for one.
Okay.
My game for that year is Mario Kart 8.
Ooh,
okay.
on the Wii U.
Yes.
Let's see what they can do. Mario Kart again.
I know,
Oh, but it was beautiful.
but Mario Kart is one of those games that's been around so long it's lost its way. With Mario Kart 8, it felt like it came back home. It felt like It was the closest to the original SNES and maybe the N64 version that I've ever played. And I've played a few of them, dipped in and out, but I wouldn't purchase any of them because they just felt weird.
Yeah.
Something about the game, it just feels like they've nailed it.
But things like the orchestral soundtrack,
Yes.
none of it was synthesized. The entire soundtrack was recorded by the most mad orchestra in the world.
Yeah, bonkers. To the point where we were going somewhere in the car and I put on one of the tracks and Susan's like, you might want to turn it off because it's going to make me go faster.
Stop eating that banana.
It's just the fact that we don't. Where the hell did you get that shell from? It's like, but no, I mean, I've got to give this game credit because you probably know from many podcasts I've recorded. What have you been playing? Well, we're still playing Mario Kart.
Yes.
Way into the future. when you
cool.
spent a New Year's drinking a magnum of Prosecco each and playing Mario Kart 8, abusing people all over the world because they've red-shelled you,
That'll do.
you know they've made a good game. I just thought it was fun, and a game like that should be fun. If it isn't fun, they failed.
It should be in the conversation.
It was joyous,
Games of the decade.
and,
Indeed.
and I think it deserves a spot.
Sounds good.
All right, then. Go on, then, Will.
So for me, I actually went for a game that I did thoroughly enjoy. Had a new mechanism, something never seen before that the new consoles were able to give it. It also went out on the old console, but it had most of this on the old generation, but it had most of this stuff removed, which was Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah.
And the Nemesis system it introduced.
Yes.
The ability to kill or be killed by an orc, and it came back and it remembered you and it developed characteristics, and it ended up fucking stalking you and coming back and back and back, and every time it was a bit more immune to the ways you'd killed it last time, and it was just fascinating. That was another platinum of mine. I spent so much time, I did all the expansions and I just enjoyed it.
It's almost like an opposite to the immersive sim genre we were talking about a little while ago. Where
Yes, there was only
it's
one
like
way
a
to play
game-
that game.
There was only one way to play that game, but it's like the game did the work for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the hook on that, the ability by the end, the ability to possess dozens and dozens of orcs and captains and run an army.
Yeah.
And the sequel was good. They put a lot of feet wrong, lots of loot boxy nastiness and
Yeah.
grind.
They basically exploited the sort of third act of that game, the original,
Yes,
and mined it for all it was worth, basically.
yeah.
Unfortunately.
But Shadow of Mordor, that was just a complete breath of fresh air for me. That was a really interesting game. I've never been a Lord of the Rings fan. I'm still not. I couldn't give a monkeys about the setting, but that mechanic was amazing.
Well, that was...
You know
I
enough
love
to enjoy
Lord
the
of the
game.
Rings, so...
Just about.
No, the good guys are, the bad guys are.
I know what an elf is.
Yeah, an orc. And a bloke with a sword who's not.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah, no, it's totally on my list. The only other game I have for that year is Alien Isolation, which I didn't actually play until much later.
That's allowed.
yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, I mean, talk about movie game of all time. Like the attention to detail they spent on that. Everything just looked so authentic to those films.
My trouble is I don't like games that terrify me.
know.
I'm a big scaredy
I-
cat, and from everything I've heard about it, excellent game, but too scary for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fear.
I
it's a
played a bit
fear,
of
fear management simulator. Yeah.
Yeah. You like the Resident Evil stuff? There's plenty of jump scares
but
in that.
I've played the demo of 2, and I'm not going to lie. I'm
The amount of
shit
times
scared
in
to
that
play
game, the amount of times, because in that game, yeah, it's what the way that I coped with it is that there's lots of save spots around, and quite often you'll just be like, "Oh yeah, I've just got to get to the save spot." Oh shit! And you go, look out for the holes in the ceiling. But there was bits in that game where
Go
you're
and eat some
literally-
ice cream and watch Peppa Pig for half an hour to recover.
There's bits of that game where, like, you're hid under a table or in a drawer or something, basically, and the thing's just coming, like, walking around. Like, they did such a good job with that. I mean, I don't generally go for scary games, but I'm a real big fan of that that franchise, the whole Alien franchise. I think it goes some way to saying that this is why I didn't get round to it until many years later, and I'd literally just run out of shit to play. And that's when I finally got to it. But I was so glad I did. It was a quite lengthy game, 20 hours, but from everything you've seen in the marketing, there's a lot more to it than that.
I bet.
I'm
not going to play it though.
It goes fully because later I'd say it's a scary game for at least the first half of it or third, but eventually you do get enough. You do get a bit tooled up.
You can fight back
towards the end. Yeah.
Do you get a loader?
No, wrong
right.
film.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Oh.
I think so. Maybe.
It's not giving nothing away.
Yeah, I think
he's not
Malone
finished
might
it.
be involved, yeah, because you're playing as the daughter of Ripley.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I like the
But not
approach. I like the approach because they treated it almost like a film.
Mm.
It was almost like I don't want to say fan film in a derogative way, but you know how
It was an homage.
A fan film's got like a limited location because we can't afford the shoots, and they just do what they can. This is set mostly on the ship, and it's Ripley's daughter, and it's like a nice little story in between.
Yeah,
Interesting.
And things like going back and recreating the way that the mechanics work and the computers and everything and the ship and the details from the original Alien was just. I saw a documentary on it and I was just like, I'm fascinated, but I'm fucking scared to play
is this game old enough and unlikely to be played that I can mention some things?
I think some spoilers aren't going to do it.
Yeah, go for it.
Right, you do get to explore the alien ship.
It's 5 years old.
That's
Oh
in
my
the
God.
first movie.
Oh, wicked.
And, and there is more than one alien in it.
Oh,
In the game.
Sweet
So
Jesus.
it goes fully mental in the final act.
Well, me and
And
Will
also-
are going to just agree to not play this game.
Yeah.
And we'll let Rob explain it to
Pretty
us.
terrifying. There's a bit when
Yeah.
you're in there's all these eggs everywhere and stuff, and you're just like, I just don't want to be in here. This is horrible.
Yeah.
But also, they did do a DLC that just lets you run through the first Alien movie, which is pretty neat. So if you can't handle 20 hours of it, there's a 2-hour option, which basically just truncates the whole thing.
Oh god, can you imagine if they did it in VR?
VR
that-
and headset and
did-
headphones.
Patrick, formerly of this parish,
Mhm.
it is
hacked
actually,
the game and did it all in VR,
Screw that.
like a lunatic. Yes.
Why would you?
Right.
You would have to wear tenor pants or something like that.
Tenor men.
Tenor man, yeah.
VR
You
pad.
just shit yourself constantly.
Yeah.
I'll wear my
No-
rubber
no
trousers
bones-
with the bicycle
no
clips.
No bones about it. You'd just be a mess.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, that's a heart attack waiting to happen.
Not
Right
happy.
then, so we're into 2015 now?
We
is it?
are indeed.
All right, so who's got a game for 2015?
I have the game of 2015.
I have the game.
I have
for
the
2015.
game, or a game that came out in 2015, but I didn't play it in 2015.
Okay, what's that?
Bloodborne.
Bloodborne. Oh, very highly rated.
Um,
Again, just not good enough at
I
it.
played it enough to get me hooked,
Mm.
but I wasn't good enough. I was
Yeah.
not worthy to play a FromSoft game. It was like, it felt like I was a peasant going up to the samurai lords of Japan and going, please make me a samurai. And
Train
them going,
me.
try this. I couldn't even pick up the sword. They were like, get out. And I was like, no.
Yeah, I mean, the way that game starts is you're basically in a room and there's a thing that's going to kill you,
Mate.
and there's no obvious way to kill it.
Apparently
Yeah.
you're meant to
Oh
die.
no, you're supposed to die. That's how you get your.
But I didn't know that, so I spent half an hour hiding from it.
Yeah, and then you go back and you're like, I've got a sword now, and it jumps on you and you're dead again.
And you're like, I understand now.
Yeah, no, you are going to die.
Yeah, I did play it. I mean, I put probably 3 or 4 hours into it, but after the second 2 of those hours being banging my head up against the same wall, I went and played something fluffier.
I think for me, it's like the epitome of. I almost wish there were more games in that genre that weren't Souls games, or not genre, that world, because I absolutely love the world. It's like,
The Lovecraftian.
yeah, it's the gothic horror. It's all of the lore and everything, and I think that's what keeps pulling me back to it, even though it kicks my face every time. It's like, yeah, it's my demon mule. I just go up to it, kicks me in the face. I go back to it. Looks awesome. Kicks me in the face again.
I've got it
Yeah,
in
I've
my
got
cupboard
it, I've
there,
got it.
but I just.
I got it. It was on PS Plus, but I didn't download it.
I've got to give it a go. I've got to try it. I've got to try and tame it.
All right then, Will. Which one is the game then?
Witcher 3.
Witcher. Oh right, okay, all right. Well, that's the one I'd go for, obviously. So I'll do the runner-up.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? Ridiculously big open world. You start the intro. When you finish the intro after several hours, you go, oh, that was the intro. And then you're unleashed onto this vast continent and You think you're just finishing it off, and then they throw another continent at you.
No
but the
loading.
Story, no
loading.
Don't know how they did that.
The story was incredible. All the individual bits, all the individual themes pulled together beautifully.
Stories. All the stories.
Characters, the voice acting.
So many stories.
And the world to just explore. Wonderful, wonderful RPG.
Yeah, I mean, it probably remains my favourite game of all time. Hence why I'm so enamoured with the TV show and stuff that exists.
More of it, yeah.
I bought it again for Switch, so I now have the Switcher.
I will be switching. I will be doing the Switch. The thing is, I've completed it twice.
I just got it so that I can play Blood and Wine, because I could play. I haven't bought Blood and Wine. So for me, it's like, okay, it's a bit more pricey, but it was in the sale.
Going to run through again.
So I'm just like, I'll just play it with a default Geralt, and just with whatever loadout they give you, and I'll.
The trouble is, I bought Blood and Wine, having not played Witcher 3 for several years. It was picked up in a sale, and what I ended up doing was I tried Blood and Wine with the default character. You build it at level 30, and you go in, and I couldn't remember how to play it. So I thought, I'll just start the main one again.
I can't
60 hours later, I was like, why have I done this? And then when I got to Blood and Wine, having done Heart of Stone as well, I kind of was a bit Witcher fatigued. Yeah. So like, I don't think I ever actually finished Blood and Wine, annoyingly. And I can't go back because I'll have to do the same bloody thing again.
Yeah, I did the first DLC. That was quite cool. There was like a bit of a bank heist and stuff going on. But I just love the combat. And honestly, like in that show, the way when he just does that hard sign on two of those guys. When he does that hard sign on two of those guys, and it's just like, oh, fuck me, I need to buy the game or play the game again. It's just like...
Well, Polish heritage.
I think there's going to be a lot more Witcher over the next few years. 7-season arc on the TV show, apparently. Which makes me think that there will be another Witcher game after Cyberpunk. There's
more evidence than that.
Really?
Is it Andrei Sapkowski or something like that?
I think so.
The author of the Witcher books did actually mention that he came to an agreement with CD Projekt Red on the Witcher licensing. So they basically bought the full rights up to Witcher 3. Said there'd be no more games after that, but he's announced recently that he's come to an amicable agreement with them, which may well be to do with something going forward rather than what's happened in the past. Now that... let's get Cyberpunk out of the way, but let's keep an eye on that, because I think we'd all happily see a bit more Witcher, whether it's Geralt or whether it's just more in that world.
Maybe that's why
a Siri game.
Maybe that's why they've decided to do Cyberpunk, because it's like, well, we're going to do another game. We want to do something different, but we got this going on.
I think
in the
they were
background.
all very, very much up for doing something completely unlike Witcher.
Cyber Witcher,
but being so goddamn talented and independent, they're probably going to do a fantastic job.
But they're taking existing worlds, like the Cyberpunk, existing role-play game. They're taking worlds, systems, lore, and doing their own thing with it, and doing a lovely job. So, 2015, Witcher 3, no doubt for me.
Yeah, and not only just the fact, the quality of the game, like you said with Monster Hunter, they supported that game for a good couple of years after it came out.
Tons of free stuff.
That's the thing that's the thing that's reversed my feeling towards the whole DLC culture, because I'm still at my core very much against it. But if you look after your fan base,
well, they gave quality of life and additional content on a monthly basis, pretty much after release, and as you say, for well over a year. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, I've got Fallout 4 written down here, but I'm not really sure why, because that's just the only other game of that year that was remarkable.
I played it, again, platinumed it, did all the DLC, but it's not as good as The Witcher.
And it's not as good as Fallout 3 or New Vegas, in my opinion.
I played a bit of Fallout 4, I didn't finish it.
I like the location, but I found that they very much just seem to simplify the missions.
They simplified a lot of the gameplay mechanics.
It's all just like shooting stuff and reading terminals.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, well, there was more. There was quite a lot of interesting stuff hidden. It was, again, I love the stories from the Fallout world and going through the vaults and finding things, but again,
there was moments, definitely, but I just think it was like difficult second album for Bethesda, really, they should have just let
done something else.
Those other guys do it.
Yeah.
Would have been a much better
game. Should have done something else.
Yep.
Do a CD Projekt Red. If you find yourself fatigued,
or maybe a Fallout MMORPG.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, that sounds like a fantastic idea.
They should have called it Fallout 86, and let it get 86.
Shoot that man! Shoot that man, and we could have been living in a whole different 2019 now.
Yeah. Oh well.
Anywho,
I've got one other game, just a flying reference. Tekken 7,
okay.
big game. But
I played the first one.
Yeah, I was massively into Tekken until about Tekken 3 was my heyday. I think I dipped back in again in Tekken 5. But Tekken 7, I know it's just a beat 'em up, but it's little things that they're doing in there that's kind of pushing the genre more. So it's like cinematics that are rendered in-game as opposed to being a cutscene. And it's like, as soon as it's done, it pans in, the bars come up and you're into the action straight away. And there's slowdowns and stuff. You do a move and there's story elements in there where you'll smack someone, it will slow down, and they'll taunt them and be like, you think that will hit me or whatever, or you think you're going to kill me or something, I'll kill you. Yeah. And it's little things like that as opposed to Street Fighter 2 where it's like round one, start, keep scrapping around until someone's dead.
Taking the genre and actually progressing it.
They did a big thing to that. And it kind of rolled into the new Soul Calibur game that came out as well. So it's the same guy. I can't remember his first name, but it's Harada. Yeah. And they just kept adding more and more people into the game to the point where Negan's in there from Walking Dead.
Wow. And
they even created a special trailer where Negan had all the Tekken characters lined up and he was walking around doing the Walking Dead bit. And then he smacked Paul Phoenix in the head with a bat.
Wow.
There's a lot of crazy love in there. And I think Japan's going through a phase of working with other development companies and guest starring games and stuff. And I think character guest stars has been the big thing of 2019, 18 as well. And it's been going. And I think we'll see more of that, like the collaboration. I think there's less closed doors between studios than we're seeing, which will be quite nice.
Keeps it interesting. I'm trying to think, there was a fighting game with Geralt in as a
Soul Calibur. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it's also got 2B from Nier Automata. And it's just so many.
Darth Vader or
Vader, Link, Heihachi from Tekken. They've all been guest characters, which is Namco. But it's like, But I just love it. I just love the idea of guest characters and things.
Yeah,
like I said, there's so many quests on Monster Hunter that are crossovers.
Yeah,
like there is a Witcher quest in there where you play as Geralt and you go after a Lichen.
That's just confusing.
I know, but the thing is, it's like really challenging because they've built the thing in there. It's got the horns and all that. It takes control of creatures and it throws crows at you and everything.
Yeah,
and it's having to deal with that as Geralt. And you've got a sigil and you go up to it, you burn it and stuff, and because it's all like vines and stuff. It's like but God, it's so challenging. Yeah. I was there for I think 2 hours trying to kill this thing, dying constantly and doing it again and again and again. And I just thought it's brilliant. There's even been a Street Fighter crossover, which makes zero sense. But it's funny when you've got Ryu from Street Fighter running alongside you with a great big flipping bone sword on his back.
Such random.
I know. Such is life. It puts a smile on my face. And you can do a little Hadouken as well, and it stuns players. It's like
nice. You do see more guest characters in the beat 'em ups probably than anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just the whole setup is right for it, isn't it?
Big array of characters, keep it simple.
I remember it all started with Soul Calibur having like Yoda in it.
Yeah, that's what it was like, Darth Vader and
Yoda and everything else. And Geralt was in the last Soul Calibur, and 2B from Nier Automata and stuff like that. And
so where are we? 2017 now, is it?
No, 16.
2016. This is the year I actually bought a PS4.
Yeah.
At the end of it, I managed to hold out that long.
I'd had mine since 2013, definitely. I bought mine with Assassin's Creed Black Flag on it. That was my first game of that generation. So
yeah, no, I played that on PC and all the others up to then.
Yeah. So what was you, 16? What was your game?
Oh yeah, okay, I'll go first. I'm going to go with Inside, which is a bit of an indie game by the guys that did Limbo.
Okay.
And this was like, basically you were playing, again, like a small boy running that way. And then...
left to right across the screen, you mean?
Pretty much, yeah. And then as you went and did that, you started coming across, some little sort of obstacles to get across. and then you realised that you were part of something altogether sinister.
Oh, I did play that. Yes.
It's the
Big
silhouette
ball
sort of
full
game,
of-
isn't it? Still, yeah.
Legs and arms.
Yeah, all
and
the
things.
tentacles and stuff going up. And,
At the
yeah.
end, that just blew my mind. That did.
Yeah, I don't think I ever finished it. I think I had that on the Vita. I think
It
it
was-
came.
I need to go
I
back to
loved
it.
it. I loved it. There was the bit with the girl that's like straight out of like the room, or not the room. Sorry.
Ring.
The ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Ringu sort of girl who
Yeah.
you had to sort of stay away from. I loved it. That really made an impression on me that year. So yeah, that's probably my game of that year. I know there's a couple surrounded by a couple of much bigger ones, but I think that's the one that deserves mention most out of those.
Cool. What you got, Marcus?
Me, I've got Titanfall 2.
Ooh, interesting.
Simply because it was the return of the Infinity Ward, and I'm not sure they were called at the time. The original boys who did the good Call of Duty. Respawn, that was it, yeah.
Oh, yes.
They put together, after the miserable failure of the first Titanfall game, it was fun for a bit. We all had a little bit of a game. I remember jumping on the back of one of your Titans, Rob, and shooting people in the face.
Yeah, I just remember that demo coming out.
Yeah.
And we all played it,
And then it just died. And we were sated, that was it. They went the opposite way with this because they knew people were going to do the multiplayer. So they worked on a single player campaign, and my God, it was nice.
It was short but effective,
You had,
I understand, yeah.
I can't remember his name, and I feel like such a heathen. You had Optimus Prime voicing the voice of the Titan.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And my God, it gave you the feels. It was like you cared about just chucking this heap of crap into battle.
Yeah.
And it was like when stuff happened, oh no, get up! Come on! We can do this! All right, fine. We're going to go in together. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We got each other. And then it was just, I don't know. I found it was really cool. I mean, I think games often don't do a single player campaign as well when they've got a multiplayer aspect to it because they kind of split their focus. But that surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And also there's all the traversal as well, time travel and all that sort of thing,
Yeah.
which was then the absolute mind
Did time travel before Dishonored?
Yes. So you could redo elements. So it's like you...
What?
Dishonored 2. had-
Right. Oh, okay. Rewind.
Dishonored 2
I think Dishonored was 2012, so that's some pretty fucking impressive time travel.
Ultimate time travel.
It was Dishonored 2 had some levels where there was like a clock and you could go into areas to get past. You literally travel.
But
Rewind.
then, I'm trying to think, did Prince of Persia Sands of Time come out before that?
Oh,
Is
well
that where they've
before.
taken it
Yeah,
from?
yeah. Oh, not
So
even
that
in
would
this
be,
decade.
that would be probably where the elements resurfaced from.
And I can't remember the game. I can remember other ones, I think even predating that,
Mm.
where as part of the puzzle you'd flick between two different time zones. Yeah, I mean, but
still,
it's how it's presented,
in the
how
first-
the
in the
mechanics are.
first-
was
yeah.
brilliant. Like,
it was so good.
I still wish they'd make like a Back to the Future game where you could
Yeah.
be in the DeLorean and like just travel
Well,
into
yeah.
another time to get through.
Flick
an
between Day of the Tentacle. Thank you.
Oh right, okay.
Day of the Tentacle, you travelled. You had the present day. You would go back to the past where you had to make George Washington or whoever it was cut down the cherry tree by painting the kumquats on the tree red. That would mean that the tree then didn't exist in the current day, so that you could solve a puzzle. And then you would go to the future and do things.
blimey,
You'd be like
that's
put
amazing.
you'd put the hamster into the ice box so it was cryogenically frozen, and then you go to the future and get the hamster out so you can put it in the hamster wheel to power the generator. And this Day of the Tentacle was quite a while before all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But different kind of time travel.
But
I
that's the
reckon.
thing. When you didn't have the graphical fidelity to be able to achieve everything, you had to think more.
Original
I think.
ideas? How very dare you, sir?
I just think if you can't outwardly tell a story through graphics because you can't quite visualize what you mean, they had to find clever ways of doing it. And I think we're in a new era of games now, especially with what's coming up around the corner.
Whereas the
It's just gonna
processing
get more
power
and more.
allows for some very interesting stuff these
Yeah.
days. But,
Anyway,
so 2016, my game of the year is the only multiplayer one I've got on this list, actually. And it's the only multiplayer game I still play and have been playing since 2016, and that is Overwatch.
yeah,
Wow,
Which-
can't believe it's that old.
It's astonishing. So Overwatch 2 has now been announced, and frankly, it's more of the same, but with some other mission types in it, and I'll pick it up just because I enjoy the gameplay loop. It's superbly rewarding. I won't go into it too much. But it's a superb 6v6 competitive shooter where you work as a team to achieve an objective. It's nothing like Call of Duty or Battlefield or anything like that. It's more working together. You'll have 2 healers, 2 tanks, 2 DPS, and essentially try and do your best to kill the other team.
It sort of took the the character dynamics from beat 'em ups and also like those Dota games.
Yeah, very much.
Transposed it onto a first person shooter.
Yes, and it's how the individual components on the teams work together, and they're still introducing new heroes, and that changes the mix up every time. They're still constantly rebalancing. I've not paid a single penny other than that I paid for the base game.
Yeah.
The only loot boxes are cosmetics. There's no pay to win, but people are still playing. There's always people on for a game. I think it's an absolutely fantastic game.
Yeah, I totally see why people love it as much as they do. I've tried to play it a couple of different times. I think it's just me. It's not a problem with the game. I just hate getting killed.
You just have an affinity with our theme song.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, cool. No, well mentioned. Has to be mentioned, really.
It's a cracking game.
Cool. All right then. So now we're into 2017.
Ooh, recent days.
Actually, into 2017. Yeah, we're getting very close. Anyone got anything for this?
Shall I go? For me, Breath of the Wild.
That was then, was it?
2017. I know. It doesn't seem like it.
That's how out of sorts I am.
Yeah. That game you've just started playing, Rob.
Yeah, 2 years old.
I got that game, I think, pretty much launch week. And we were playing it, and like you
actually played it on the
Wii U.
On the Wii U, though, right?
Which, to be honest, doesn't have a whole lot of the similarities to the Switch. It's just slightly more oomph than the Switch. So
I can totally tell with that little gadget he has that they were intending that as a Wii U thing.
Yeah,
right.
But I think they've done it quite well. My God, it was so much fun. And also, Suze took to it because obviously I bought it for her originally, and I was just playing a second game save.
Yeah.
But I was surprised. We weren't expecting it to be that good, and I know the story is very
non-existent,
simple.
Vague.
No, it's very simple. Most Zelda games are.
Yeah.
Rescue the princess.
The ancient evil has awoken, and you need to stop it.
Kill it.
You need to find people to put it back in its place, or delay it, and then go and kill it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much every Zelda game. So it follows that law. And the whole point of it, and I think there's an element of acknowledging the generations of Zelda. There's like a certain kind of, not Zelda, generations of Link and stuff. I'm not spoiling anything, so don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, all that's lost on me anyway. So.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I think is, and I'm looking forward to the sequel. There's a sequel being worked on.
Yes.
Breath of the Wild 2, which...
Oh, how do they come up with these things?
I know. Well, I don't know if that's the title, but it's... I mean, all we had is a trailer.
Yeah.
That's it. And we don't know whether it's a prequel or a sequel or anything in between.
I don't think the time scales.
The way the game works, there's like a 200-year
It's like a reset every time they bring a new one out, isn't it?
So,
pretty much.
But even in this game, it's like when you wake up, it's after like 200 years. So everything's broken and ruined.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so it could chart that, because he's got amnesia when he wakes up.
You're basically just repiecing everything back together again. I really enjoyed it. And there's so many game mechanics, it's insane. I mean, I won't spoil it for you. I want you to discover them for yourself. But there's so many things you can do. And some of the enemies, you're like, oh my God, what the hell?
So far, the game to me is like, every time something happens, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why they're saying this is amazing. Sort of.
Yeah. There's so much. There is so much to do. Different weapons do different things. I loved it. And I'm kind of jealous that you're going into it from the start a bit again. Although I'm thinking I might do a replay. I might have to get it on Switch before the next one comes out and start from the ground up. I don't think you can transport game saves over from the Wii U onto the Switch.
I doubt it.
I think the network was not in place. So
they need to figure out online gaming first, don't they?
Good God, yeah. Actually, the Wii U was weird. It was free. Online gaming, Mario Kart, I didn't pay a penny.
It was free on the Switch when they put it out. It's just there was actually enough people on it that they figured it might be worth charging.
Yeah. I remember the last night when they said it was going to turn off, and we went on there and someone cheated at Mario Kart and turned their cart into a build-a-bullet. But anyway, I loved it. Breath of the Wild.
So for me, without a doubt, if you combine an open world and RPG and skill tree and robot freaking dinosaurs, you get my kind of game.
Yeah.
And that was Horizon Zero Dawn. the one Horizon Zero Dawn had a couple of nice gameplay mechanics, the trapping of dinosaurs, harvesting for parts. That was all right, but what I really enjoyed about that game was the plot, the story. The overarching story there, which I won't spoil because it's a relatively recent game and at least one person at this table has not done it.
Yeah,
the story is magnificent to me. It's a wonderful sci-fi plot that rolls out across the main missions, and I found genuinely interesting and moving. Best plot in a game for a long time. To me, better than the Last of Us plot. Just because it's more my kind of story.
It's proper far-fetched sci-fi, isn't it?
Yeah.
I enjoyed it too. Yeah, it's great.
I mean, that's what I'm liking about games now. People are finally realising again, it's a medium. We can actually tell stories through these.
Yeah.
And some people will take to them more than others, but it doesn't matter. I mean, as long as the experience of going through that story is still enjoyable and you still have a great game behind it.
That's it.
Yeah,
Thing is, it doesn't have to have a great story.
No.
It doesn't have to have an incredible mechanism. It doesn't have to tick other boxes, but it's always got to be one thing. For me, the fun thing, Rage 2 was one of the games I enjoyed most from this year. Not a great story at all. Not even a story that I particularly noticed, but a great mechanism. But there's always got to be something key.
Yeah, see, that's what makes that game fairly optional for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right, so we're heading into 2018 now. I'm thinking already, we'll probably do 2018 and then maybe just try and choose one here.
Ooh.
If you like.
Okay.
Because we've already talked
We've
about
covered that.
2019.
I will have an honourable mention for 2019, but I'm not worried about that going in there.
Okay, all right. So I'll start 2018 then. With God of War, because that was the best game that came out that year.
It was a freaking amazing game.
Yeah.
Excellent storytelling. Wonderful use of the camera work. Good, chunky combat. And enjoyable exploration, yeah.
Yeah, great character work.
There was nothing in that game I could fault.
It was just absolutely firing on all cylinders. Like, the music was beautiful. And the fact that they'd taken what was a very... sort of, I don't know, it was kind of pretty, I don't know what the right word is, it wasn't childish, it was just a little bit abrasive, I suppose, those old games.
One-dimensional.
Cartoonish, maybe.
Two-dimensional.
Yeah, they managed to give it this fidelity. It was oh my God, this is like God of War, the movie. Yeah. But it was a game, the next gen of game. And I think it very much sort of cemented an approach that I think Sony especially have taken this year.
And did you know it's meant to be the start of a trilogy? I only read that today.
I think I did hear that.
It's intended to be the start of a trilogy. And
I better get on it.
Yes!
I did hear that. I know there will be more.
Yeah.
For sure. However they choose to do it. It was just really classy package.
Yeah, agreed. Excellent game.
I just love the fact that you were kind of wandering around with a talking severed head attached to your belt for most of the
Don't we all do this? What have you got, Marcus? I think I know if it's
just the application. Sorry, of his Thor's hammer, basically, and the way that it would stay in its position in the level, and then come back in perfect stereo sound all the way back to you. It didn't just appear.
So I need to play it with headphones.
It literally travelled through the level back to you.
Yeah, I must admit, I did so many times. I'd get to the highest point I could, throw the axe as far as I could, and then just recall it just for that little
just
buzz.
Wait for it, yeah. And the other thing delivered as a continuous take with no edits as well, which also added to the
a technical achievement, but one I couldn't really give a monkey's about.
I think it made the difference. It's like the best kind of
it kept the immersion,
and the
I guess.
ones you don't notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I need to play that.
But the voice acting, the dialogue, the way the story was told was exceptional. Yeah.
The fact that in the acting category at the BAFTAs, it was up for like 4 of the actors were up for it, I think, and there was the one guy from Red Dead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
What have you got, Marcus?
I'm a bit ashamed of my game of the year. I've not finished it yet.
Yeah.
Bit of a knob.
Okay.
Faux pas.
What?
Spooderman.
I thought it would be.
Finished it?
No. I realised that the other day, and I was like, "You dick."
I must admit, when we had the conversation about the games of the year last year, I hadn't played Spider-Man or God of War. I played both of those this year, and I would agree, actually, they're both exceptional games.
It is like you're just picking your favourite child there. Like,
Depends on the mood, which one's the better. Spider-Man was superb.
I loved Spider-Man because I'd say I'm not going to keep it short because it felt like the final realisation of all the games I wanted to play back when I had a PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
And now they finally made the game that's possible.
Yeah.
With sky to ground, everything in between. You can run up all
the traversal was a joy.
You can do whatever you want, and then you could just roam around, spend half an hour web slinging, and then go to work. You could do that.
Yeah.
I felt like I was spoiled. I felt like it had been custom built for me, even though it hadn't.
Have you not finished it yet because you don't want it to end?
I'm not going to lie. There was that element. There was a little bit of that.
That's how I felt about this latest watching The Witcher. I left the last two for ages.
There was that. I did slow down playing it because I did feel like, but then I don't know how far I got into it. So maybe I should just get on with it, and I could always do it again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's DLC you can do afterwards if you really paying for it.
So in hindsight, for me, for 2018, it could have been God of War, it could have been Spider-Man, but I'll stick with what I decided at the end of last year because it's another good, superb game that I think deserves to be on the table, which was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the third Assassin's Creed game to make our list as a group, second one of mine. Yeah. Odyssey just had everything. The naval combat was back. Wasn't as good, to be fair, but wasn't the key. It was the sheer number of islands and stories and Greek mythology to encounter. Some of the characters you met, the way it was told, it was just an absolute delight. It made Red Dead look like the dull slog it was. Superb game. Loved it.
Origins did that for me in terms of Red Dead comparison.
Yeah, well, Origins is a
Oranges.
shadow of Odyssey.
Right, well, that's high praise.
You've got something to look forward to. I thought Odyssey is twice the game that Origins was.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that will certainly keep me busy until whatever comes out this year.
So my other honourable... Sorry, have you done 2019?
I haven't.
2018. So
that's all. We've done 2018.
So the only honourable mention I want to do, because I in the last episode I mentioned my post-apocalyptic game of the year.
Yeah.
But there was one indie this year.
A non-post-apocalyptic game.
A non-post-apocalyptic indie game for me. I just thought it was well worth a mention, just the joy it gave me at times. Short game, very sweet, Untitled Goose Game. Absolute delight.
Yeah. It's definitely come up over our festive recordings.
Did any of you see the Video Game Awards? Absolute dirge of a program, but there was a section where you had Beaker and the other Muppet scientist there. And they had Untitled Beaker Game.
Nice.
And it was a spoof of that, and then the goose turned up and started stealing the awards envelope.
The goose has blown the bloody doors off.
That was the only part of that watchable. It's on YouTube, you can catch it. But I thought that was utterly charming in the spirit of the game. It was brilliant. That's a game I'm happy exists.
Yeah.
Because it looks a lot of fun and just does what it does.
Yeah.
So, favourites out of your lists?
Well, gun to my head, there's only one game out there that Desert Island, Witcher 3,
Skyrim. Same principles, just this wonderful, gorgeous open world to just keep exploring and finding things.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be. Yeah, I'm going to stick. It's got to be the master thing of Monster Hunter and Iceborne.
Yep.
Yeah. I just think
it's
Desert Island. I'll be dead before I finish the game. Probably.
If it's a game that you've put over 400 hours into and are still finding joy from, it does suggest you like it.
I was looking. I was just thinking. I've enjoyed all of the others so much.
Yeah.
But a game to bring me out of a gaming drought and sort of bring me back up to speed and give me that fire again.
Yeah.
That's a real achievement, personally.
Now, the only trick is to stop playing it so that you can play some other stuff.
There's enough now. I'm slowing down now. I'm slowing down. It's not every evening we're on it, but
Yeah, Final
Superb.
Fantasy VII's out in March, I think.
Yeah.
You won't see me.
Yeah.
Where's my... Oh, he's in fucking Midgar again, isn't he? Get him out of there.
So I guess that's kind of a good segue into like games we're looking forward to, in the future, I suppose.
Using our 2020 vision.
Oh, like it. Well, Marcus, there's one, I don't know if you've mentioned it previously on podcast, but I know there's a game you're excited about in the first quarter.
Yeah, Untitled Goose Game too. Yeah, it's got to be Final Fantasy 7. I mean, I'm such Rob's looking at me skeptically, but I'm going to just say it. I am such a bitch for this game. It's just like, this game just saw me come in and went, here you go, Marcus. We're going to give you little bits more, have another trailer, have some more news. We're going to like put these little breadcrumbs out. You've got to lap every fucking bit up. And I don't care because I didn't think it would happen. And now that they've announced it happened, I thought, oh, it's going to be shit. Because Square don't really know how to make games anymore. And the whole thing about the game getting scrapped and rebuilt, lies. Apparently that didn't happen.
They were just working.
They've just been quiet and working on everything. And fuck me, it shows.
Yeah.
3 different ways of playing the game entirely. Just dialogue, voice acting, systems, just the attack structures and everything. You can hack and slash, you can do this, you can do that. I'm just reading more and more, and I'm thinking, I better stock, 'cause I don't want to like build it up too much. But fuck me, I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to get me buying a PS5 to continue. I don't even give a shit that it's 3 parts.
They won't make you buy a new console for that.
No, they won't, Rob. They won't make me pre-order this one either.
See, I've got more pressing concerns at the moment. The fact is that this bloody Half-Life VR game, Half-Life Alyx. Now, this has thrown a right spanner in the works because I was quite happy to wait for a PlayStation 5, but now that's happening. I'm now and Will also saying about I might wait for PlayStation 5 for Cyberpunk so it's got all the ray tracing and stuff, and I feel like I've been missing out with that on Control as well. So I'm thinking like next year's new PC time, so because then I can play Cyberpunk with all the bells and whistles.
Is Cyberpunk day 1 on PC? I thought that was following.
No, it's day 1. It's day 1. It's probably the primary platform for it, I reckon. So that will be your most unfiltered Cyberpunk experience on launch day, I reckon. So that's what I'm thinking. Easter time is new PC.
See, I've got a couple of games. I see Will's writing one down. That's one of mine as well, so I won't mention
Go for it.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to Cyberpunk as well. And that was before Keanu Reeves turned up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Cyberpunk is something that's been... I mean, I mentioned in possibly a previous one, the whole idea of arcade life being a part of my life from growing up. And that's very much like the heart of cyberpunk culture. Like, you had people sitting there with goggles on and stuff like that, and smoke-filled rooms and all that sort of thing, and just people with crazy tech. Like the first StarTAC phones came out, people were showing them off in the arcades, and cabinets where you could actually bring your fucking memory cards from your home machines and put them in. And I don't know, Cyberpunk to me, if Final Fantasy VII didn't exist, that's the game I'll be frothing about. But I'm DNA bonded to that game, so that's why it will pip it for me.
Yeah, I mean...
Cyberpunk looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, well, that's just a compliment for Cyberpunk, I think, if you're that entwined.
I think you were quite relieved when they put Cyberpunk's release date back a bit.
A little bit, yeah.
So the other one that was also put back was Watch Dogs Legion, which...
Sorry, Cyberpunk's been put back?
I thought I heard that, or maybe I've gotten mixed up.
Still 16th of April.
Oh, no. It's Watch Dogs Legion that got put back. I know a couple of games were
Watch Dogs definitely got put back because that was definitely high on my list.
Okay. Well, you might just want to double-check the date on Cyberpunk, but I thought that was now a summer release. But Watch Dogs Legion looks genuinely interesting. It's got a new gameplay mechanic we've not seen elsewhere, where when you die, you just take on another NPC in the world. Okay. So we're still looking 16th of April.
Yes.
This is encouraging.
Still on target.
Still on target. Sorry, and that's for Cyberpunk.
Yeah, sorry.
I've got between the 16th of April and the 3rd of March.
Oh, time travel again.
Yeah. That period, yeah. That's how long you've got, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Sorry, carry on, Will.
So, no, Watch Dogs is looking very good, but I think it's now later in the year.
It's going to be like it's going to be a launch title for the new consoles, I reckon.
I think that's a distinct possibility. Another one that's down for next year that does look very interesting. I've not seen enough detail on it, though. From all of the more cinematic trailers we've seen, the vibe looks fantastic, which is Ghosts of Tsushima.
Oh, yeah.
A samurai game that just looks beautiful. Another Sony exclusive, single player, epic, possibly. But all I can go is the beauty and the setting. I just need to know more about that one.
Because the thing is, Last of Us has been delayed, and they say that's
that
summer
was the
as well.
other delay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Last of Us Part 2 is down for June now, I think.
Yeah.
So when the fuck is Ghost of Tsushima coming out? Because they're going to launch 2 of their big guns at once.
Well, as long as there's a month between, they're generally okay.
It's true. I reckon Ghost will go with the console launch, maybe.
It'll
I'm
be
thinking,
interesting.
yeah.
I'm hoping.
I think that'll be the big bang. They'll do that and they'll release it. Simply because seeing the cinematics, those leaves, those trees, that setting,
It looks pretty
you
astonishing.
need the oomph. I would say it's got to be a PS5.
Well, the only trouble with that is I'm really hoping we get a nice surprise announcement of the next Horizon game to go as a launch title. But I'll take both.
I doubt it'll be a launch title, but I think they might announce.
It's in the works, I'm certain.
Yeah.
Sony do love a surprise.
Seems like it's been long enough as well. Like, what are we looking at? Like, yeah, it's
Maybe
been
even
like
a God
3
of-
years.
Yeah.
Another God of War tease as well. I reckon they'll probably just start nothing substantial just to let you know it's coming.
Well, if you look at E3 last year where Sony didn't even show because they'd played their hand out too far, all of those games that they were talking about, so The Last of Us 2, they focused on Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, and I think there was one other, I'm sure, might have been Final Fantasy Remake. I can't remember the 4 games they focused on. They've all got their windows, and there's no clue from Sony about what else is coming out, what's coming out at the start of the next generation. So I think it's quite exciting.
I'm noticing other games are moving out of the way of like Cyberpunk and Final Fantasy as well. Because they've got such a storm around them. If you release anything around then, you're not going to gather anything on your weekend.
Yeah. Another interesting one, which I don't think we have a release date for. We don't know if it's next year or not, but we know is confirmed, and I think will be of interest to all of us, is Baldur's Gate 3, Larian Studios.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll be next year, but
Yeah, but another one to be excited for, certainly for me.
yeah.
Larian can't do any wrong, as far as I can see right now.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do with what they've done before, combined with the Dungeons and Dragons rules.
Exactly that.
So,
There's a hell of a toolkit to play with.
Should be fun.
Yeah, it's definitely up there for me. Yeah, for sure.
That's me.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's plenty. We could keep going. I mean, we've got a new generation of consoles, but I mean, we can probably save that chat for another day.
Yeah, well, so November, we'll get more announcements, I think, this year. And new Xbox, new Sony console, I think, in November, expected.
I can't believe Microsoft just went, Sonic will go first.
Yeah.
You know, and they just unveiled it. It looks like a rectangular
Square Alexa.
mini PC. Yeah.
Looks like a box that plays DirectX.
I did jokingly say, if it does actually hover like they did in the advert and has a green light that comes out the top of it, I'll be quite impressed. Other than that, yeah. I'm curious what they're going to do, because they're calling it the series, aren't they? So,
Let's say Microsoft have learnt from the reveal of the last console what they should and shouldn't do. Pricing's going to be a major thing. I think the new Sony console is going to be quite expensive. We'll see where it goes.
I think they're going for the range. I think they're doing basically like the S and then the Scarlet as well, and something in between, which is why they've gone for the series. I think they've probably gone, you know what, sod it. We're
Multiple
gonna release
power models to
a
give the price
console.
options.
We're going to give you, power brackets, and
Makes
that's going
sense.
to be it.
Sounds good.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool. All right then. Yeah, I think that's it for now. I think we're going to be back, like sort of in, I don't know, around March, April time.
When we've got something worth talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. In the meantime, we'll be mashing our way through our backlogs. Marcus will still be playing Monster Hunter.
No. Yes. No.
And, Will will be playing another Assassin's Creed if they make one.
Or something post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Or something post-apocalyptic.
Post-apocalyptic Creed.
All right, then.
Cool.
That'll do it for now.
Nice.
See you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Not Playing Podcast, part of the Not Listening Podcast Network, where you can also find the Not Watching Podcast, where we talk about movies and TV, and the Not Listening Podcast, where you can hear Adam and Co. talk about all kinds of nonsensical nonsense. You can email us at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for all our shows at notlistening.co.uk, and if you like what you've heard here, please do leave us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Until next time, bye!
With no booty, my friend, I'm inclined to agree, 'cause I suck at Call of Duty.